Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we explore coins, currency, and collectibles. If you're a coin collector, a treasure hunter, or just curious about that $50 sitting in your change jar, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the history and value of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, specifically the circulated ones you might find in the wild. Let's rewind a bit. The Kennedy half-dollar was first minted in 1964, just months after President John F. Kennedy's assassination. It was intended as a memorial coin, and Americans embraced it wholeheartedly. First, these coins were made with 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices and hoarding, the U.S. Mint reduced the silver content in 1965 to 40%. By 1971, the Kennedy half-dollar became a copper-nickel-clad coin, just like modern quarters and dimes. So by the time we got to 1974, it was a coin made for everyday circulation, not for stacking silver. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar features the familiar portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts. Flip it over and you'll see the presidential coat of arms, the eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, designed by Frank Gasparo. Now here's where it gets a little more specific. 1974 Kennedy halves were minted in 3 places: Philadelphia, no mint mark, * Denver, D mint mark, * San Francisco, S mint mark, ***, but those were proof coins, sold directly to collectors. Oh, what's it worth? Let's talk about the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar in circulated condition, the ones that have been used in everyday transactions. If you've got a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar from Philadelphia or Denver that's been in circulation, it's unfortunately not rare. Hundreds of millions were minted, over 200 million from Philly and over 201 million from Denver, to be exact, and circulated condition. Most of these coins are worth face value, 50 cents, but wait, there's a little more to it. If your coin is in higher-end circulated condition, like XF or AU grades, or even just lightly circulated with minimal wear, collectors might pay $1 to $2 for it, especially if it's got good eye appeal or is part of a date set. And if you have an uncirculated one, that means no wear, just minor handling marks, it could go for $3 to $5, depending on the market. Now here's where it gets exciting. Some 1974 Kennedy half-dollars have errors or unique varieties that collectors love. One famous error to look for is the 1974 D double die obverse. That's right, some Denver-minted coins show doubling in the word, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty" on the front. If you find one of those in your change, its value can shoot up to $30 to $50, even in circulated condition, and much higher if it's uncirculated or graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Now, if you come across a 1974 S. Kennedy half-dollar, it's most likely a proof coin, made for collectors. These were struck with extra care, and they've got that mirror-like finish. Proof versions usually sell for around $4 to $6, but that can vary depending on condition and whether it's still in its original packaging. Proof coins don't usually circulate, so if you found one in your change, congrats. That's a cool find. So, to wrap it up, most 1974 Kennedy half-dollars in circulation are only worth about 50 cents to a couple bucks. But keep an eye out for high-grade examples, and definitely check for errors like the double die. Those can be worth much more. The Kennedy half-dollar was born from tragedy. After President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, there was an immediate and overwhelming desire to honor his legacy. Within days of his death, plans were underway to place his image on a coin. Traditionally, coin designs aren't changed quickly, and a president isn't placed on circulating currency so soon after death. But in Kennedy's case, the public outcry and symbolic importance pushed officials to act fast. The half-dollar denomination was chosen because it wasn't heavily used in circulation, and changing its design wouldn't cause major disruption. The U.S. Mint modified the design of the Franklin half-dollar to include Kennedy's portrait. First struck in early 1964 ***. The Kennedy half-dollar was released to the public in March of that year. Demand was so intense that people lined up at banks to get them. Many never made it into circulation because they were hoarded as keepsakes. The 1964 Kennedy half was minted with 90% silver. But as silver prices rose and people continued hoarding coins, the U.S. Treasury faced a coin shortage. To address this, the mint began reducing silver content across denominations. From 1965 to 1970, Kennedy halves were made with 40% silver-clad composition. After 1970, the mint removed silver from regular circulation coins completely, starting in 1971. Kennedy half-dollars were made with the same copper-nickel composition as dimes and quarters, a clad coin with a copper core and nickel layers. Though more than 400 million Kennedy halves were struck in 1974, very few ended up in regular change due to hoarding, declining public use of the half-dollar, and the coin's bulkiness compared to other denominations. Some 1974 D coins, from the Denver Mint, have a double die obverse, a striking error that results in the appearance of doubled letters, particularly in "In God We Trust." These error coins are prized by collectors and can fetch much higher prices depending on condition. By the mid-1970s, the Kennedy half-dollar saw less and less use in day-to-day commerce. Several reasons people kept them as collectibles or souvenirs. Vending machines and cash registers didn't accommodate them easily. Rising inflation reduced the coin's practical value in everyday transactions. The U.S. Mint continued producing them primarily for collectors rather than for circulation, a trend that continued into the 1980s and beyond. The Kennedy half-dollar is still minted today, mostly for collectors. Since 2002, the coins are no longer issued for general circulation but can be purchased directly from the U.S. Mint in rolls or bags. The 1974 issue stands as a representation of the post-silver, post-hoarding era, a coin from a time when America was adjusting its coinage and economy to modern realities. Got a 1974 half-dollar at home? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy coin collecting content like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a treasure hunting tip. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!